Production upgrades are still going strong. My cookie progression through trades and rerolling is insane, so I need to make sure that I'm not getting bottled at by my kingdom. Unfortunately, Arena has really become an eternal sugar fest. The age of using ragtag epic scam team with Rebel is long gone now. You genuinely need awakened ancients, legendaries, and beasts to even have half a decent shot of getting something from Arena nowadays. But luckily I do have that. Wish I could get more from my first and second week guild purchase, but that's just progression I guess. My number one priority right now is to get my guild teams up to a point where it's good enough for applying to a top 100 guild. For Bill Abyss, 2 Bill RVD, 1 Bill AOD seems to be a decent-ish score depending on how lax the higher end guilds are. I'm still running the same comps as yesterday, though at least I have toppings on Black Forest now. Alright, that's enough waiting, time for the next castle level. Castle 8 is especially important since that's when you can unlock the Rainbow Shell Gallery. No luck on Marshmallow Bunny, unfortunately. But anyway, now that I'm done with exploration, I can at least unlock the Seaside Market. In the early game, the coin shot is probably the singular best thing to happen to production. Like holy moly, smithy tools! Making access to shovels without bundles is genuinely so infuriating. Moving over to the mines, looks like somebody ranked the mine spell without me realizing it. Honestly, I would like to make a guide on min-maxing mines someday, but that would require me to actually know how to min-max mines, and I'm not too sure about that yet. Back to the Kingdom Arena. There's big teams here and there, but as I said previously, you need high rarity cookies, even on low ranks like Plat or Diamond. And then we have the trays. Luckily, I did get a pine cone from Gacha yesterday, so I can save on a couple thousand mileage. For a pre-16 tray, this boss was actually decently difficult. The other bosses, however, were Q, the Fire Spirit Eternal Sugar Montage. But the FSES domination doesn't just stop at tray 15. It continues on until tray 17 lol. I do not have a proper dispeller. And plus, the boss deals max HP true damage. Back to the kingdom side, I've worked my up to the best research tech, because honestly this game was quite literally unplayable without prod dashboard. And then I sped up the rest of my castle upgrades since I got tired of waiting. And the third train is unlocked as well. Alliance on the other hand has been pretty easy. I wonder what could possibly be the reason for that, and hard mode was just as trivial as normal. Now, moving on to Expert. This game sucks. Healing bosses were the worst thing to ever happen to Alliance. Meanwhile, the arena progress has been slow and steady. I decided to ditch the 4 fire comp now that I have actual somewhat okay PvP cookies like Mystic Flower, and since I got a few upgrades here and there, I thought I'd check up on my guild damage. 2 billion, huge. My RVD also isn't too bad. I mean, the team is horrendous, but the damage isn't too bad for only 2 days. So close to 1 billion. But since my team explodes anyway, I ran Linzer and ran the practice again, and crossed the 1 billion mark, nice. Took a couple fights, but I'm finally at another promotion. Alliance Expert is still giving me troubles though. Even if I have my full team up for wave 12, that healing is just vile. Like, what is that? So maybe the, not Black Lemonade, boss killer would help. And he desperately needs debuff immunity. Alright. Well, isn't that just fun? Well, I forgot to test my AoD damage after getting Trem. Unfortunately, I won't be seeing a proper AoD team for a while since Fair is locked behind the Hall of Pavilion, but on the bright side, another castle upgrade is ready. Meanwhile in Beast East, I'm starting to close into clearing Chapter 2. Mob stages have been trivial with ESFS. Boss stages, however. But anyway, I've unlocked the Trade Harbor now, which means I can start farming Awakened Ancient Soul Prisms. Luckily, there wasn't anything too appetizing in the shop while I haven't built up my pearls. And since I have the Trade Harbor unlocked, I can move on to Chapter 5 of the new player event, for another nice 100 pulls. On rate up this time though. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. I think I'm just being a tad bit lucky. Just a tiny bit lucky. Just a tiny bit lucky. That's my second Eternal Sugar up the account. To recap, in 100 pulls I got Awakened PV, Mystic Flower, Black Pearl, and my second Eternal Sugar. If only the Bunny Tunnel would afford me the same luck. Very skillfully obtained upgrades. And no thoughts needed, time to max PV. But first, I need to max out my tastier Star Jellies tech. So now, I can use up all my Star Jellies since they are maximally efficient with the tech maxed. These nail-biting / infuriating arena fight. But since I'm still super low on trophies, I set a bait team for my defense team, because arena tickets are easy to come by and having a revenge log helps with managing win streaks. And a bit later, I finally have enough juicy jellies to clear 2-30, which means I can access elemental biscuits now. And farm 2 times more legendary biscuits since they have a 15% drop rate on chapters 3+. Currently, I'm looking for a poison bomber and a support for Gil, though looking back, electric bomber for Black Lemonade should have been my first priority. I'm currently gunning for 7-7 since I also need an elementalist range for Krem and Twizzly. And I'm also way too weak to climb all the way to 7-20 for all the bomber and support drops. With Epic Biscuits, I really shouldn't be able to do things like this, but ESFS is ESFS. Very balanced characters, thank you Dev Sisters. But anyway, I love Biscuits, I love getting the exactly wrong element on both of them. I did end up with an elementalist range though, so I'll be rolling this for a decent attack speed stat with preferably cooldown as well, but that's usable for now. And that's the wrong one again, thank you. I love Biscuits, I have 4 light bombers, and there is not a single light bomber in the game. Is today the day, however, that I can push to master? No win streak bonus since I just refreshed, unfortunately, but I only need one more good win. Which I now have. So now I've officially reached Master Tier in the arena. This has definitely gotten harder since the 3rd anniversary at least, I can tell you that much. And since Stormbringer's Crystal Jam is the only one that's actually meta relevant right now, I decided to push the Trial Grounds. Though I don't have Stormbringer now, I know I can easily hit her with Pity on the event banner. And since I needed mileage, just keep pulling. Lol, Lamau even. LOL, Lamau even? The secret sauce is to stack new player luck and content creator luck. After farming poison biscuits for a couple of 100 jellies, I just realized that I have a much better priority. 5-4 can drop fire magic for PvE spirit, elementalist magic for PvP and guild boss, and elementalist charge for Black Forest. And I decided to try Trey 17 again since I have a proper dispeller now. Bruh. And the attempts go on and on. Could I have just made upgrades instead of bashing my head into a wall? Yes. However, after enough times bashing my head into a wall, that's finally complete. Okay, I actually cleared the rest of the Decadent Choco Tray Tower, but I'm saving that for next episode, so stay tuned for that. But now it's time for Acceleration! Yet another Cookie Castle upgrade. 3 castle levels to go before I can slow down and work on my labs and building upgrades. And yes, I am actually unironically pulling for mileage. I'm not that big of a gambling addict. With the ungodly amount of pulls new players get, I managed to max out my common watch quite quickly. But the Pitaya boss is still being the Pitaya boss, unfortunately. So I tried to swap in Shadow Milk in place of Creme Brulee. This is not an endorsement for PvE Shadow Milk. He is not good in generic PvE, he is horrible in PvE, it's just that I don't have any other cookies that can live and actually do something. Like, he's bad for generic PvE, though he is needed for the Deceit Trio buff for RVD. Since I actually have cookies alive, I can actually eventually pass the Pitaya boss. But PV death means I can't beat Stardust. But anyway, it's time for that part of the new account again. Me narrating over a alliance clear. So Rebel is here because Rebel, he's incredibly good for wave stages because of the 84% defense down and 60% vulnerability. Eternal Sugar and Fire Spirit are self-explanatory, and so is Pure Vanilla, especially with the Stardust boss being currently present. And Shadow Milk, as I said before, he's not good in PvE. He is probably horrible in this comp. No, he is definitely horrible in this comp. He's just good because I don't have any other cookie that can currently survive. Yep, Rebel is easily doing his thing on wave stages. So it really just comes down to wave 4, which has already been passed, and wave 12. And since we're not in hero mode anymore, yeah, no tech needed with the canceling, with the timing. Don't need any of that stuff. We just need enough damage for the Pitaya boss. No stalling needed because no black lemonade. And here goes nothing. And because the Pitaya boss is from an older chapter, I believe it's taken from like 12-30, it's actually vulnerable to elemental vulnerability, which is really nice. And it's also weak to the Shadow Milk, like Puppet Show, Taint, whatever, which is also vulnerability. So the characters that aren't dealing damage, except for PV, are actually providing a decent bit of offensive damage here. And slowly but surely, if the stars line up, somehow, by some miracle, the boss is actually getting chipped down. And just a little bit more. Rebel is unfortunately out, but we don't need Rebel anyway. We have Eternal Sugar and Fire Spirit. They are such a balanced combo. Balanced cookies in general. And yeah, by some miracle, we've somehow beaten the Pitaya boss and we have PV, Eternal Sugar, and Fire Spirit up. Shadow Milk doesn't really matter, but it's not like he was gonna die anyway. He has a phase 2 with like 40% damage resist and 55% max HP or something stupid like that. And it's not like any of the traits can actually pose a threat. Fire Spirit is immune to burn, so Stardust doesn't pose a threat. Injury alleviation on Pure Vanilla kinda nullifies Stardust as well. And then, again, Shadow Milk is super tanky, and Eternal Sugar has her own immunity. Stardust is gonna be a slow fight, but it's gonna be a guaranteed win for me. And by slow, I really do mean slow. This took quite a bit, especially for a boss that doesn't heal, unlike a certain other boss. It also doesn't help that bosses past like chapter 15 are fully immune to debuffs, but made it past that, and there's a reason why nobody remembers waves 17 to 20 this season. Once you've passed Pitaya and Stardust, you are all good. The crit down does kinda suck for Black Lemonade teams, but at the same time, if you're here, you have like 30 ERS stacks. It doesn't matter if you miss a few crits. And just a little bit more, just a few more Fire Spirit nukes and a few more Eternal Sugar skills. That is day 4, we have the Alliance Expert cleared. Remember when this took me 37 days to do? Imagine. And Fire Spirit being Fire Spirit as per usual. But that also means that I have first clear rewards now for more gambling funds. Let's go! What's new? Like, at this point, I'm just numb to this. But I've forgotten to test my RVD damage once I've got PV. The team is super messed up and I'm not even reviving the correct cookie. However, hey, that's 1.7 billion essentially. And so that is all for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff if you enjoyed it, because I'll be posting more, I think, hopefully. Anyway, see ya.